Our tale begins where all good adventures start, in the local tavern. It's Thursday night, and after a long week of adventuring to pay the bills, the group have all just stepped into their favourite tavern, the Horny Strumpet, home of overcooked food, overpriced drinks, and overworked staff. It is by far the largest tavern in the farming village of Seedgreen, and Thursdays are its busiest night, due to the renowned quiz hosted there. The tavern has 5 teams scattered around, 3 of which appear to be newbies or people the group doesn't really know. But there are 2 regular teams. They see the cackling female band of orcs known as the Orkettes, led by a loud, brutish half-ogre named Mishala, and they see their friend Phileas Recker, a genius and professor at Wedgwood Academy, playing darts with his 2 construct servants, known as the Wreckers. Also with Phileas is a new forced addition to their team, a small red-skinned imp named Coroner, who serves the mysterious, unseen owner of the Horny Strumpet. But more importantly, they spy the man they have come to see, Mij the Mad Mage, spellcaster and quizmaster. He is an aged high elf, with a long grey beard, blue robes, a warm smile, and a bulbous nose. He sits at a side table, surrounded by piles of papers, and is fiddling with some sort of arcane device that doesn't seem to be working properly, ringing with intermittent boop sounds. After ordering some beppis from Briar, the tavern's sullen barmaid, the group go over to say hello to Mij. Arekk manages to fix the malfunctioning device, and as thanks, Mij offers them a one-time use of his help. The group grab their reserved table, and as everyone chats, a loud, magically amplified "all right, guys" calls everyone's attention to Mage as he begins his spiel, messing up several words in the process. Tonight, they would be partaking in the Wizard's Quiz, a series of challenges meant to test their wit, skill, and teamwork, with the grand prize being a chance to reach into Mij's magical vault and pluck out a randomly determined prize from within. With his introductions and warnings out of the way, there is a flash of light, and the group find themselves somewhere they were not before. Plunged into darkness, torches alight along the walls of a stone corridor, leading to an ornate door embellished with carvings of an inaccurately buff Mij doing heroic deeds. Before they reach the door, a large illusion appears of Mij's head, telling them that the first room is a test of their dexterity, and hinting to watch their step. The illusion fades, and the group push open the doors. They find themselves in an enormous, flooded sea cave. Coral of every color grows from the walls, and an unseen tide enters the chamber, filling it with turbulent salt water. From their side of the cave spans 3 paths of stepping stones across the water, leading to the opposite side of the cave and another door. The group assess what to do, briefly considering scaling the wall, but think better of it upon seeing the sharp, jagged coral and algae-slicked stone. Coraline wonders if swimming would be easier, and decides to look beneath the water to see what threats there may be below. In the murky gloom it is hard to see, but she does make out a dark, monstrous shape moving deep in the water, and she sees it notice her. Pulling herself up and out quickly, the group decide their only course of action is to hop the rocks. Each sets out on one of the paths, hopping between the rocks. Doug almost immediately falls, his torso slamming into the next rock as his legs hit the water, quickly scrambling up. A huge fin crests the water's surface and begins to circle the stones. The distance between each stone gets further and further. The group continue their leaps with Coraline using ice magic to make extra platforms between the stones. Arekk makes his next jump and is horrified as he passes through the stone, an illusion splashing into the water. His eyes open in a panic as he sees his arcane focus begin to sink, lost from his grip in the fall. The dark shape materializes out of the gloom, a hunter shark racing towards him. Arekk swims down with all his might, his robes slowing his descent. With a push, he just manages to grasp his sinking crystal as the shark bites down on his arm. Blood fills the water as the shark's teeth dig deep into Arekk's arm. Determined, Arekk grips the stone tight within the beast's mouth and channels magic into it, causing a burst of flames to shoot down the shark's throat. In an instant, it lets go, and Arekk seizes the chance, swimming up and climbing onto the next stone just as the shark's smouldering snout and open jaws bashes into the rock. Now wary of fake stones, the group test the stones ahead with spells or thrown rope. Coraline is the first across, having no fake stones, with Arekk just behind. Doug reaches the final jump, having nearly fell in several times, and realizes the last stone on his path is an illusion. He would have to jump the entire gap. Coraline suggests they help pull him across with his rope. Doug ties the rope to his waist and throws the other end to his team. Doug musters all the dwarven strength in his body, letting out a mighty yell before launching himself from the stone. At that instant, the shark breaches from the water, its jaws aimed at Doug as he passes through the air. The jaws begin to close, and Doug begins to fall as Coraline and Arekk pull the rope with all their might. Just as the shark's jaws slam shut, Doug is yanked out of the shark's path. With a clattering smash, Doug lands on his friends, knocking them to the ground, and the shark splashes down, dinnerless, into the water. Taking a moment to catch their breath and to chug a healing Beppis, the group gather themselves and press on into the next room. Again they enter a stone corridor, and again an illusion of Midge's disembodied head appears. It tells them the next room is a trial of wisdom, and that there is more than one right answer to this puzzle before disappearing. Stepping through the doors, they enter into an ancient tomb. The air is thick with the smell of decaying vegetation and dust. Vines burst from the walls, creeping down the faded stone, and mushrooms glow with faint bioluminescence, lighting the chamber. The room is deathly quiet. Opposite them, they see another ornate door with a large door knocker, and above it, the carved statue of a three-eyed rabbit with antlers. The group try to talk to one another, but realize they cannot. The room is not just quiet, it is without sound. In the middle of the chamber is a stone sarcophagus, a plaque at its base reading, "Here lies Anna Graham." On top of the sarcophagus are 6 tiles on a movable board that currently line up to spell out the word silent. As Coraline and Arekk attempt to communicate by drawing in the mud with sticks, Doug tries to randomly move the tiles. At this, the room shakes, dust falling from above as one of the 3 rabbits' eyes lights up red. Coraline wants to try to spell out the word lentils, but not knowing how lentils would solve the puzzle, decides not to risk it. Finally, Arekk snaps his fingers, though none heard it, and approaches the board spelling out the word listen. Sound returns to the room, and with it, they now hear a rhythmic thumping sound coming from the statue's back foot. Confused for a moment, they eventually decide to knock the rhythm upon the door, and it opens. Stepping through the door, they walk out into the stands of a gladiatorial arena of white marble columns and crimson-red banners. The sky above is the orange-red of the dawn before battle as the group follow the burning braziers guiding their way down into the fighting pit. Stepping out of another door comes the brutish Mishala and her Orkettes, though only 4 of their team appear to have made it this far. Up on a balcony, overlooking the arena, the illusion of Midge's head appears once more, this time adorned in a laurel wreath crown. As both groups step onto the sands of the arena, Midge speaks. "Your next test is a test of strength, Last team standing wins. Good luck." With those words, the tension breaks and both teams attack. The hulking Mishala swings at Doug with a mighty two-handed axe as the other orcs begin hurling javelins. Doug pushes blows aside with his shield as he trades blows with the savage half-ogre with his own battle-axe. Arekk and Coraline fight the orcs at range, trading hurled javelins for hurled spells. A well-thrown javelin impales Arekk, instantly taking him out of the fight, as Coraline takes cover to try and heal him. The orcs, sensing their opening, rush to press upon and overwhelm Doug. Spear strikes and heavy axe blows rattle Doug's shield and armor as they close around him. Suddenly, there is a flash of wild magic behind Doug, and the arena fills with the sound of thunder. Doug only has a moment to see the surprise on the orcs' faces before he hears an almighty crash and is lifted off the ground, watching as orcs go flying in different directions. He looks down to see the thunder he heard was the stomp of huge feet, and he is now on the back of a rhinoceros with Coraline's telltale silver eyes and a dead orc impaled upon her horn. Mishala, though pushed, had not been sent flying as the other orcs had, who now land with a crash. As they try to recover, their attention is called away from the rhino and rider by the angry yell of an enraged Arekk descending the stairs. Arekk calls out to the braziers about the arena, and in his fury controls the flames, merging them into a great serpent of fire which descends upon the orcs, immolating them. As the flames go out, 2 orcs have been turned to ash, and only Mishala stands there, burnt, bloody, but still ready to fight. Arekk's rage subsides, and his senses return, deciding to tactically retreat into the stands out of harm's way. Mishala turns back to Coraline and Doug. Coraline flicks the orc from her horn and begins dragging her foot ready for a charge. Doug and Mishala grip their axes tight and let out bloody cries as Coraline and Mishala charge towards one another. Mishala rears back her axe for a mighty swing. Doug leans off the side of the rhino, pulling his own axe back. The two swing as one. The rhino and Mishala both come to a halt. A moment passes. Then Mishala begins to split right down the middle. Doug's battle-axe had been the one to find its mark, the force of his swing and Coraline's charge cutting Mishala clean in half, slicing her from crotch to cranium. The last tethers of sinew break, and the 2 halves slap to the ground. Doug claims Mishala's enchanted axe as his prize, dubbing it Wendy, before Coraline unrhinos and the group head out through the portcullis of the arena. Once again, they are met by an illusion of Midge, who tells them that this next challenge is a test of their intelligence, and to only answer when they are sure. The corridor gives way to an ancient sandstone temple. Hieroglyphics mark the walls depicting humans worshipping a large creature, part lion, part bird, part woman. The temple appears to be mostly ruins, with many parts of it completely buried by the sand. The heat is intense, and around them they see rolling dunes of endless desert. From a cave in the back of the temple, a growl emanates, as the creature depicted on the walls, a sphinx, prowls out to stand high upon an altar. In a purring whisper that promises violence, she welcomes them to her temple and explains that she blocks the path forward. To pass, they must answer her riddles. Only one may answer each riddle, and if they fail, they die. With little choice and little confidence in their riddle-solving ability, the group begrudgingly agrees to the terms. The first 3 riddles are old and well known, the answers being a candle, a river, and nothing. The last stumps them. I shed not tears, but shed I do. In times of strife, I turn to blue. I grow dark from sun and blight, and when I'm dead, I'm palest white. As the time ticks on and the silence grows, the Sphinx leans in, her talons digging into the stone. Then suddenly, "Skin!" Doug says. The answer is skin. The Sphinx lets out a melancholy sigh before lazily moving out of the way. The group wasted no more time pressing on into the last room. They step into an enormous and elegant ballroom. Immense windows line the walls, reaching up to a high vaulted ceiling and floating chandeliers. Beyond the windows is an infinite expanse of stars. The group began to walk to the end of the grand hall, spotting Phileas and his wreckers doing the same. The two groups bantered briefly before arriving at the final challenge. At the end of the ballroom is an immense archway, within which shimmers a barrier that neither team can pass through. Along the archway are carved intricate gold images of cherubs playing musical instruments and singing, 6 on each side. Lastly, high in the center of the arch is the device that Mij was attempting to fix earlier in the night, which begins to glow and hum before letting out a loud series of boop sounds. Mij's illusory head appears for the last time, outlining the final game, a music round. Fastest finger first to 6 identified songs. With that, the head disappeared, and the songs began. Snippets of bardified versions of famous songs began to play as each side tried to yell out quicker than the other. With each song that played, a large tile of the floor would drop away, revealing the infinite span of stars below. Arekk, Doug, Coraline, and Phileas all named songs quickly, but it was Coroner who was fastest, seeming to know them before the snippet even played. It was then that Arekk noticed Coroner was glancing into a crystal with each song before yelling them out. Arekk called out to Phileas that Coroner was cheating, to which Phileas scolded Coroner. Doug went one step further, grabbing the cheating imp and hurling him into the void. The teams were neck and neck, Phileas's wreckers falling into the void as all but the last of the tiles had fallen away. The last song played, and by his face the group could tell Phileas knew it, but he merely smiled as Arekk yelled out the last song. The last of the 6 cherubs' eyes alighted, and the group ran through the barrier, turning back to see Phileas give them a solemn nod before falling into the void. Then, with a flash of light, the group are back in the tavern. The other teams applaud the group's arrival, including Phileas, who appears unharmed, though the Orsets were noticeably absent. Mij joins in on the congratulations, inviting the group up to claim their prize. Mij hands the group a 25 gold voucher and a further 200 gold, before asking who would open the safe. Coraline volunteers. Mij taps the safe with his blue crystal staff, and the vault unlocks, swinging open. Coraline reaches her hand within the vault, seemingly larger on the inside, before feeling something in her hand. Pulling it out, she sees a beautiful golden scroll. The group gather round her, and as she unfurls it, together, they read what it says.